Before we start today's episode, I want you to think about this. So, have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things? You're showing up or working hard, pushing forward, but that internally something just doesn't feel settled? Maybe it's overthinking, maybe it's self doubt, or maybe it's that quiet voice that questions your worth, even when everything on the outside looks like you're doing well. Now, if that resonates with you, then today's episode is going to hit you differently, because we're not just talking about the surface level of mindset work, we're going deeper. So, welcome to the Let's Talk Clarity, the podcast where we have open, honest, empowering conversations around mental health, emotional well-being, and personal growth. I'm Zeenat Noorani, the host, sorry. I'm so used to saying the co-host because I do the Let's Talk better, but the host of this show. And today I am joined by someone who works and goes beyond the traditional coaching into the patterns, belief, and subconscious drivers that shape how we think, feel, and show up. So joining me today is Vishad, also known as the Inner Peace Walker, a mindset transformer who believes people move beyond overthinking, burnout, and self-doubt to create their own path, their inner peace. Through his work, he explores the deeper layers, the subconscious patterns, and emotional systems that many of us don't even realize that are running the show. So, Vishad, welcome to Let's Talk Clarity.
Thank you so much, Zeenat. Really happy to be here, and thank you for that warm introduction.
Well, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. We've had a couple of conversations now, and your work resonates with a lot of the work that I do, but what you do is just on a deeper level and from a different direction. So it's always lovely to speak to other professional coaches out there that do similar or quite different work as well, but are still aligned. So let's start here, because I think this is where many people might feel unsure. So when people hear the term shadow work, it can sound quite heavy sometimes, even intimidating. So let's bring it back to everyday life. Now, how would you explain or reframe shadow work in a way that feels accessible and relevant to someone dealing with things like overthinking, self-doubt, or burnout?
That's a good question, a good place to start, actually, because you're right that the term sounds loaded. It sounds like something that is going to take ages, and honestly, it's something that a lot of people shy away from because it's easier. Subconscious is built on the idea that it wants the easiest path to a solution and answer, and often that is we'll just ignore that for leave it for another day type thing. The quickest way to explain shadow work, or easiest way, could be that take those moments in your day where you express a reaction or a behavior or a thought out loud that is either out the blue, depending on what's going on, but it just feels like for a moment you weren't yourself. So that could be, you might swear out loud, or you might throw your hands in the air, some, gesticulation or something like that. But it'll be very brief. It'll pop up and it'll come back down again. And you might accompany it with things like, well, it wasn't me just then, or where did that come from? Another example could be like you're standing in a queue at the supermarket, and the person up front is being a bit slow, and immediately think, oh, hurry up, like why are you taking so long? I've got things to do, and
for God's sake, come on, move it.
Yeah, exactly. Everyday normal reactions that we don't put any more thought to. It's just a reaction. And
so most people are already experiencing this, but without actually knowing, the language of it for it, isn't it? That's what you're
Exactly. And
saying.
and
Mm.
and often what they either tell themselves or hear from other people is like, "Oh, just chill out, relax, it's not a big thing." And often that is the case. One of the paths that we, walk through on this journey is that all of the reactions they're experiencing are actually okay. We don't need to overthink and overplay these things. But where the shadow comes into it is we've essentially suppressed the idea or ideas that certain emotions, thoughts, behaviors, etc., are not acceptable.
Mm.
And if we do experience them, we should shut them away pretty quickly because they're either too
Absolutely,
tough
yeah.
to deal with, unacceptable to the people around us. And the significance and context of that is if we display something unacceptable, then by definition, we are unacceptable. And if we're unacceptable, we're not good enough.
And it's all that expectation as well, isn't it? That
Yeah.
comes within that. Because that's
That,
why what you're saying is by pushing it aside, we are now at the expectations of others rather than what's actually for us, the right thing for us.
and that's a really significant point you make because when you trace everything back, and that's one of the first steps that we take is to go, okay, where do all these behaviors and things have come from? Where do we learn that suppression? So to take it back to step back to your question for a second, shadow work is essentially us going together to meet your shadow. And here's one thing: we're not looking to destroy it. Like in
Mm,
physics, we all have a shadow. You can't get rid of it. And
mm,
that's not to say, right, you're
love it.
stuck with it forever and you're in trouble. It's more to go, it's a part of you, as are all the other, say, good parts about yourself. But what we like to learn from the shadow is what it's there for, what's it doing, and integrate it into ourselves. So the
Mm,
work can take any form that it wants, and we'll probably talk about that later in the episode. It takes on various realms of questioning, exercises, and sometimes just sitting honestly with something. But at the
yeah,
moment, it might be
absolutely.
such a big term to go, "Ooh, shadow work." It's like it can be as big as small as you want it to be.
But you know what? I love actually that terminology, shadow work, because you're absolutely right. It is something that follows us around. We cannot get rid of it. And it's actually just reminded me of Peter Pan
Yeah,
and his shadow.
yeah,
And sometimes we imagine our shadow to have these horns or be scary or these whiskers
mhm,
coming out, but actually it's what we're imagining it to be. So it's about recreating and making that shadow work for us that we're seeing, I guess.
exactly it. It's exactly it. Our shadows are parts that, again, our subconscious created for a purpose. It didn't just pop up one day and going, "Oh, I'm here now."
Yeah.
It will have come from something. So, if you want an example, like one of the things that we all experience, both ourselves as children,
Mm,
which where we will start this from, and whether we're parents today or not, we all, we've seen children in and around us, right? Imagine,
mm,
say, a 3-year-old happily minding their own business with whether it's a toy, or a device, or a book, or whatever, perfectly content, doesn't need any one or thing. And then it's introduced to another child, like a parent might bring it in or a sibling or whatever,
mm,
and they're told to share or play nice.
mm.
And when you look at the child, you'll first look at you with a sort of semi-blank look at the child, not with contempt, but it's like almost a
No.
bit like a threat. Yeah,
Yeah,
almost a bit
no.
like a threat.
Yeah,
Exactly, and and again, children are unfiltered. They will express what they're experiencing. They won't go, "Oh, I
absolutely.
shouldn't say this, shouldn't do that." They will literally give you signals, going, "No, I'm all right here, thanks. I'm good. I'm
Quite
perfectly
content where
content."
I am and with what I'm
Right,
doing. Yeah.
but if any parent picks that up, if
We have a lovely visitor.
if any
Don't
parent
worry.
picks that up,
Mm,
they then go, "No, share, be nice," and so the subconscious messaging the child gets is like, "Right, I was all right here on my own, and I expressed I don't want to share,
mm,
but then I got told no, share. So if I share, then I'm acceptable. They go, that's the
mm.
right thing to do.
Abs-
And therefore, in their mind, they form the pattern, right? Sharing equals acceptable.
And if you
And
don't share, it's
not sharing
unacceptable.
is unacceptable. If I'm unacceptable, they won't look after me. I'm not good enough, and I'm essentially going to die.
Yeah. Do you know what, Vishad? This is absolutely hits the nail on the head with the work that, because I work with children and young people. And what I do is in the classroom, as I supply teach, I see this day in and day out. And it's this norm that we have to share. It's kind to share, and it's humanity. But then now things are slowly shifting, is that we're giving people that choice. It's a choice whether the child can or can't share. And it's okay, it's acceptable to be able to say, no, actually, I'm okay. I don't want to share. And that's okay to say that. But it's it opens up very interesting conversations.
Exactly so. And this is the thing where on the face of it, it's a surface level example, similar way, just telling people to share. And also, if sometimes I might feel it's it's a commentary or an attack on parents to go, you shouldn't be doing that. It's like, here's the thing, this is all we all experience. It's an everyday thing. It's passed down through generations. And it's something where we just carry on with it.
Mm-hmm.
That programming just sits there because it's the passed down thing. It's the familiar thing. It's the acceptable thing. So we carry this idea. And the reason that example might resonate is that we start off as a sharing example, but then it builds the identity in us that, right, other people's needs come ahead of mine.
Yeah.
So it leads into things like people pleasing. And on the face of it, we look at, oh, that's a good thing, isn't it? We're being benevolent. We think of other people. And I'm not saying never do that again.
No. But it's to what detriment?
There we go. And that's where we begin to go, oh, this looks good. But then there's something underneath it. And there we are.
Okay. So we're going to move on to a couple of other questions here. But just for our listeners, now, as you know, our listeners are listening here, I would just like you to sort of just pause and think for a moment and think about this question. What patterns keep showing up in your life that you don't fully understand? So refer that to as I don't fully understand, and just reflect on that, while you're listening to this podcast, because I think there's interesting thought-provoking questions here. So one of the things that's really good and really stood out in your work is how you talk about patterns, because you often talk a lot about patterns and how much of what we experience isn't random, because it isn't. So my question to you, and we've kind of touched on it slightly, but we want to go into it a little bit deeper, is how does shadow work actually help someone recognize the patterns they have been unconsciously repeating for years?
So what it asks you to do, similar to the examples we might have shared, is look at the what comes out on the surface. That's your conscious reaction or behavior. So it's things like, so that exercise you just asked people, or that open question, is a really good example to first begin with, to go, okay, what are you experiencing in your life from any source that gives you those kind of reactions, like whether it's frustration, annoyance, as I said, swearing out loud. So that's signs that something's coming up from your shadow. Because if you're comfortable with it, then there isn't a further question.
Yeah, there's no reaction, is there?
Exactly, yeah. So when we take that surface level, we're the ones that go, what's going on here? So first of all, the pause is a key thing. Now, when I say pause, I don't mean like drop everything you're doing. But it's when you have a moment to yourself, or when you're starting this out, to go, okay, so I react in this way to this thing. And it's automatic. You don't, it's automatic. It just does itself, right? So first, the opportunity is there to go, okay, what does this look like? So we could go for a walked example instead. Actually, let's do that. We'll go for a walked example.
Yeah, give us an example around this, because I think that's where a lot of our listeners will relate to what you're saying here and go, aha, so, that's in my life.
So I'll pick an example from my coach's experience. So his starting point was he'd get into fights with his partner. When I say fights, I mean like verbal arguments and call it confrontations, if you will. Okay, so that's where you'd start from, right? I keep getting into fights with my partner. So the next question is, okay, articulate, what does that look like? You know, what happens to you, maybe what the other person, and what triggers cause this behavior to come up. So he'd say, right, I'd be very physically intimidating, you know, very foreboding body language, very like pointing, you know, like that. His eyes would
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
narrow, his
yeah.
eyebrows would go up, his voice would escalate in tone and pitch, and especially in response to his partner. He'd swear a lot more, and he might be volatile. Like he mentioned that, like if there's a glass around, he might throw it at the wall. So very loud, very full of like rage, and he'd also express that his partner would be afraid. Um, Trying to understand what's going on, why are you being like this? So not a nice experience for his partner. And the trigger would be only it would be only with his partner. It wouldn't be with anybody else or his friends or his parents or anything else. It's just his partner. So the first step there is to articulate in full as you can the behavior, the trigger, and what it looks like.
Absolutely. So behavior,
So
trigger, and what it looks like.
yeah. So the next step is to go, okay. So the context and model I operate from is that behavior is a character that your subconscious built from some experience.
Mm.
Now, we don't have to go back to that experience. It can be part of the work, but in this example, we just want to understand what's it doing. So,
Yeah.
if people look for a context, if you refer to the Pixar film Inside Out,
Yeah.
where it depicts a human being, a growing up girl, with a character of cast of characters in her head that are representing emotions. So she's got joy, sadness, anger, disgust, envy, running the show. And they view her world, and according to what's going on, one of the characters will sort of take over.
Mm.
If you apply that to yourself, then that character is trying to deal with a situation that's cropped up. So your subconscious, basically, whatever is going on in your life, looks to your cast of characters going, right, which one of you lot can deal with what's going on? Your subconscious is two operatives. Make sure you don't die. That's why you don't just go wandering into the road or putting your head
Yeah.
in the oven, for
But they
example.
are learnt behaviors.
Exactly. Because from the very first time that the character appeared, it was like, oh, I don't know what to do here. So it comes up with a character, depending on what's going on, that can
Mm.
deal with the situation.
Yeah, I love
So
this.
that next step is to go,
Mm.
okay, so what needs is this character fulfilling? And when we say needs, we're talking about human needs. There's four of them in general: certainty and control,
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty and variety, significance and ego, and love and connection.
Yeah.
Now, this is where, with a bit of practice, I'm conscious I don't want to go too heavily into this for now.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll need another podcast episode for this, but
yeah,
this would be
possibly,
great.
yeah. So that's the next sort of identification
Yeah.
process. Like, what needs is this character fulfilling? So for this character, my coach said, right, he fulfills three of my core needs. Certainty and control is him going, right, I'm going to take charge of the situation. Forget all this back and forth. I'm taking charge. I'm going to be forthright. A little bit like, President Trump.
Yeah.
Right, wherever
Let's
sod
not go into
everybody else.
Trump.
I know. Just as a brief example, you just go, right, I'll just say what I'm thinking. I'm going to take charge. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'll go into. You've also got the need met for uncertainty and variety because I don't know what's going to happen next. You know, when you watch a
Mm.
Netflix show and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I wonder what happens next. Let me watch the next one.
Yeah, it's the
We all have
unknown.
that
Yeah.
need. It's the unknown. And you also get significance and ego because now people are paying attention to you. Might not be the right
Yeah.
attention, but you're getting attention. There's three of your core needs. It doesn't fulfill love and connection. There's no love and connection going on here.
No.
So your subconscious goes, that's a good one. Three of your four needs are met. I'm good. I don't understand
Mm.
happiness. That's your department. So when you identify that, you can identify, right, it's a character our subconscious uses because it meets needs. So
Mm.
that's the function part of it. Now comes the in-depth bit. When we talk about layers and going deeper, this is where it asks you to
Mm.
go. So it asks you to go, right, imagine yourself meeting your character. You as you are, manifest the character into whatever you think it looks like or sounds like. So my coach depicted the character as one of the villains from Batman, Bane. Very loud,
Mm.
very intimidating character. And imagined him sitting opposite Bane. And he opened the conversation going, I don't like you. because we often don't like our shadow parts. These are rejected, oppressed, the bits we don't like, put them away. That's how the shadow forms. So the first thing he said is, I don't like you. Like you're loud, you're intimidating, you're volatile, you swear, people don't like you, I don't like you. Why are you doing things like this? And first of all, the character went, well, I'm only doing what I'm programmed to do. I'm here because your subconscious created me to deal with your situation in a loud manner, because you weren't able to express your emotions at the time it happened. I'm an expression of all the rage and little moments that you said, oh, I'll suppress that, or I'll keep it quiet, or I can't say out loud. I'm the manifestation of all that rage you've suppressed and built up exploding.
Yeah.
So all those little bits of anger that you experienced, that you put away, like, you missed your train, or your kids fell over, or whatever it might be, until
it's
you
that
can express it.
piling up. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just literally keeps on layering like one of those tart cakes, or whatever they call it, forest
A
cakes
balloon
or
filling up with
cakes.
air, a bucket with a hole filling up with water,
Yeah,
all the same thing,
all
little
those
bits of it.
things.
And here's the key bit. So you're starting to understand, okay, you understand the expression out loud. But then my coach went, but why do you do it like this? Why are you so loud? Why? I still don't get that bit. And here's the bit. Here's the key bit. So the character went, and when I say character, people might go, you're a bit kooky. You're talking to yourself. Well, you are.
Yeah. You
You're
are.
understanding parts of yourself here. So there's nothing wrong with expressing it like this. The character then went, you tend to forget something. I'm only dealing with this in the way that I do because I'm the only character that, when all of this is going on, you're in a volatile situation, you're having an argument with your partner, I'm the one that said, right, I'll deal with this, because no other character went, no, no, no. Because if I didn't deal with it, if I just went, no, no, not for me, there's another character behind me that would have taken the mic. And that is your depressed and suicidal thoughts character. Now, what I'll say on those 2 points, for example, depression and suicidal thoughts, is that they are okay to feel. They're absolutely okay to feel. It's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to have suicidal thoughts. We all have, at some points in life, some form of thought pattern that goes like that. And that's when my coach went, oh, blimey, I did not think of it like that. And the character went to finish, said, the learning that you might be able to take from this, and again, this could be your own thoughts coming up, is that the message here might be, express your anger as it comes up. And then the last part of the exercise, if you will, is to practice and observe the new behaviors and ways you can meet the same needs that the character is meeting in healthier ways. So again, you're not killing the character, you're not getting rid of it, you're not destroying
just
it.
growing and working with the character.
Exactly.
To become the shadow that you truly want. Yeah.
Exactly. So to wrap this up, sometimes the character will come back, because that's nature. We're human beings. We're not robots yet. But going through the whole exercise means you've got validation for the character now. You've given yourself acceptance that, yeah, sometimes I might fly off into a rage. And as time and practice goes on, that might become less and less. But you've given the part acceptance.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for. That's all the parts are asking for, acceptance.
It's really, really interesting. And, the way it works, and, thank you for explaining that, because I think it's really important for our listeners to understand all of that. But just on another note, just to touch on it very lightly, you mentioned, depression and suicide, which is an episode for another time, and it's a deeper thing. But again, you saying that it's okay to, feel that you feel a bit depressed, or got these slight suicidal thoughts, and that's a really interesting sort of discussion to have, because obviously what society dictates, it's not okay, right? And therefore, the moment you say that, it's like you're suddenly held accountable and liable, that you can't get insurance, you're loopy, and you're this and that, and you're not allowed to express those, and they suddenly put these walls up for you that then you can't pass, if that makes sense. But anyway, we're not going to
Mhm.
go into that today, but it was really interesting that you brought that up, for for something to think about and for another future podcast, because it is a big one. But just sort of rounding up on this bit, I want my listeners to think about, the one pattern in their life right now, that they might keep repeating time and time again, whether that's in their relationship or their work or even how you speak to yourself. And as Vishad had said, we talk to ourselves, and that's okay. You know, it's part of us. If we don't talk about to ourselves, and that's kind of the work we do, isn't it, Vishal? We talk in third person or second person. So from a different perspective, like the bird's eye view that we get being external, because when we're in it, we often don't see it and feel it. It's about taking that moment to step outside.
100%. And something I'd just like to share with anyone listening or watching, if you are experiencing these thoughts, that's okay. At the same time, you're welcome to share with either Zeenat or myself or whomever you feel safe around. Um, it's not to say everything's going to be fixed at that point, because we're in this culture today where everything's got to be instant. It's got to be done. Someone else do it for me.
Mm.
But just by sharing,
Yeah.
not even to get advice or ways forward, but even just
voicing.
voicing exactly, it can be a big thing. So one of the tenets that I operate from is staying kind to yourself. And I know that might sound a bit of a twee or overused phrase and very, very airy fairy, but it's fundamental, because whilst you're trying to maybe understand or work your way through whatever it is you're going through, we have a go at ourselves, like we shouldn't feel like this, or like, I'm no good or anything like that. Again, automatic behaviors and patterns that we just default to. Sometimes not really our fault, because our brain is defaulting to cognitive
Yeah,
negative bias that it tends to do. But I would just add to stay kind to yourself and feel free to express if that's what you're going through. And it's
yeah.
okay what you're experiencing.
And whichever way you want to express it, and whether
Yeah,
that's by talking, it's by writing, it's by singing, whatever means, through art, it's just do find an exit form to express yourself and bring that
yeah,
understanding and awareness. Right.
absolutely.
So, there seems to be a lot of focus on personal development, on goals, positivity. I'm having problems with my words today. It's like having worms. Positivity and this mindset shift, which is, which absolutely, has its place. And I do a lot of work around there. But sometimes people still feel stuck, even when they're,
Mm.
they're doing all the right things. So my question to you is, where does shadow work differ from this, and how or why might someone stay stuck if they avoid going deeper? Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
where
yeah,
does
yeah.
shadow work differ, and why might someone stay stuck if they avoid going deeper? So it's almost like putting a plaster. What I'm trying to say, it's almost like putting a plaster on something that needs
Yeah,
healing, but you're actually not treating it at the core of the source.
makes sense. So the first clue is actually in the question. You're doing everything you were supposed to do. So you got a education, you got a relationship, you got a family, you got a career. Whichever one, you're trying to keep those plates spinning at time, because that's what you were brought up on. That's what everybody else is doing. We find comfort in the majority, that kind of thing. And yet you're going, there's got to be more to it than this.
Mm.
Or something's not quite right. I don't feel fulfilled. But very quickly that thought pops up. But, you know, our daily life just takes over. Yeah, I've got bills to pay. I've got kids to feed. I've got kids to look after. I don't have time for any of this. So when we get that inkling of maybe I want to do something different, change, whatever it might be, that's our first sign of curiosity. And that's where it operates from. Now, a lot of people may think that to deal with that is to go after something. So we tie our self-worth to the attainment of something. When I get that thing, that's what will make me happy.
Yeah.
So it could be a new partner if you're single, or even if you're not, changing my job, changing my appearance, or some other externally orientated thing, situation or status or object, that's what will make me happy.
Yeah.
So one of two things tends to happen from there in the goal attaining race. You either get the thing and you go, it's all right. And then you sort of go along with it for a bit. And then you come back around to the same thing again. Like, actually, maybe it's that thing I want. So you're basically going goal hopping.
Yeah.
But you're still stuck in that cycle of like, yeah, but I'm still not getting
The
satisfaction,
results,
attainment,
getting where you want to
fulfillment.
get.
There's still something going on. Or you don't end up getting the goal for whatever reason. And then you say things like, I can't do it, got no willpower, got no motivation. You're judging yourself. And particularly, I self sabotaged, which doesn't exist. Again, that might be a whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah.
Essentially,
We could go on forever.
the goal attainment thing is hinting at I need this thing, and my self worth is now linked to it. So if I don't get it, I'm not good enough. So where shadow work differs is to go, okay, you know what? Park goals for a second.
Yeah.
In fact, before I park it, think about what goals actually again are attaining. It's a link to your self worth. What we're trying to do is to say to ourselves and work from the understanding that we don't need to link our self worth to our relationship status, our bank balance, our weight, our appearance, because it comes from within. We reflect what we project.
And that's a very, very deep work, because
Yeah.
on the norm, it doesn't, for day to day, everyday people, majority of the people in the world, include myself for quite a bit on various levels, that again applies to me as well, and we've really got to do the work, and it's that constant journey as a reminder, isn't it?
There you go. You've used the word itself, deep work. That's what shadow work invites you to do. So again, we'll give an example for context. So we've just come into the second quarter of the year. So the first quarter, indeed, the end of last year into the new year, a lot of people would have heard about New Year's resolutions. I'll do it at the end of the year, a change in the year. Most common resolution that people do at New Year's?
Diet.
Exactly.
Eating,
Get
going
fit,
to the gym. Yep.
exercise, keep fit, go to the gym, lose weight, etc., whatever form that takes in. What happens in January? They do all the things on the conscious level, get the gym membership, well, they start with getting the gym membership, all the diet stuff. I'm going to run around like Rocky at 5 a.m., do all those things, gym 5 days a week, as you just did mid-January. 5 days a week turns into 3 days, and then 1 day a week at the end of January. Then basically you give up, right?
Yeah. By February, it's all gone to pots.
Exactly. And then you go into that mode of I have no willpower, I have no motivation, etc. So that goal is just left sat there. Because all the time your subconscious looked at you at the conscious level going, what are you doing? And you go, I am getting fit, changing my diet, exercise, whatever. Your subconscious is going, why? And you go, because it looks good. Or my friend said so. Or my partner said I look a bit chubby. I need to lose some pounds or kilos or whatever. Your subconscious goes, well, that's not a good enough reason. So how do I know what you're about to do isn't going to harm you? Or the why. We forget the why. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, the real why behind everything.
Yeah. So that's what I'll end with goals for a second. So when it comes to the shadow work part is, it's asking you to, look beyond that symptom to something that you're suppressing. So to just switch examples for a second, a lot of people might be in a role or job that they overwork in, put extra time in, extra effort. Comes from maybe the overthinking department, overachievement department, maybe from the route that if I work really hard at my job, I will get promoted, I will get a raise. Linking it again to bank balance, to status. So it's asking, okay, where did the idea that overworking linked to your self-worth comes from? Because the bank balance and all that is the byproduct, but you're linking the byproduct to the self-worth. Okay, if I work harder, I'll get more money and a better role. Where did that relationship start from? Well, you'd have observed it from your network, your parents, your
Your parents,
siblings,
your
your friends,
upbringing, yeah,
your
it's
family.
that
So that, oh,
cycle.
when
Mm.
when you work hard, you get more money.
Yeah, if you
Okay,
don't work hard, you don't get anything.
right. So there's always that comparison going on. No matter how hard you work, somebody else is earning harder than me, or if I'm not earning as much as so and so, then I don't look good enough in the eyes of whomever. So again, it's externally orientated.
So what you're
So
saying,
you
the
do
two shouldn't be linked to your self-worth.
no. But so what
Mm.
shadow work asks you to go, okay, so keep going. Where did it start from? And it could be an experience, again, going even further back to your childhood. If you didn't get straight A's or 100% in your oral exams,
Mm.
that's not good enough.
Yeah.
People will have thought, maybe people in the UK may be familiar with the sketch show Goodness Gracious Me, or if not, go find it. He got a B, and the whole punchline of the sketch is there's a 6-year-old and the parents expect him to have got a PhD from Cambridge and playing,
Right.
first team football. Anyway,
I'm gonna
um,
have to look for that because I didn't grow up here, so that was something
okay,
I'll look
so
into.
yeah, you'll
Sketches.
be able to find it. Now, shadow work then asks you to sit with that emotion of like, what would it be if you didn't put as much stall into working hard? Now, immediately you might think, well, my world's going to collapse. I'm going to get fired. I'm going to be without a job. Well, we've
I won't be
defaulted
able
to
to
the
do that.
worst scenario already, but just bring it back to center, bring it back to yourself.
Mm.
By you overworking and thinking, you might be avoiding things like, well, maybe I don't want to be at home because I don't like being with my partner.
Yeah.
Now now a lot of people go, oh shoot, that's that can
But it's the
happen.
truth. That could be the truth, and it's hit them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, what shadow work also invites you to do is you don't have to drown yourself in this all at once. If
Yeah.
it's too tough, you can take a step back because that in
Yeah.
itself is an observation point. Going, oh, when I brought that line of thinking up, like, oh, I didn't think of it like that. So give yourself the time and kindness to go, yeah, maybe I'm overworking because I don't like being at home, or I
Yeah.
don't like being unproductive, being still. I got to do something. I got to do something.
Well,
I've always got to
again,
be
that
busy.
goes back to society again. If you're not doing something,
There you
you're
go.
not being productive. You've got to
Yep.
keep moving. You've got to keep
Hmm.
talking. You've got, that moment of having that silence, that stillness to actually absorb. Because I think what you do, from what I, relate to and aligns with me, is about sitting in the moment with that. And you're right, not doing everything all at once, because then that becomes overwhelming. You don't know where to go then. It's taking bit by bit and working on it slowly to heal and understand and be more aware of it, of the
That's
symptoms.
exactly it. And what you just described is the progression through shadow work in whatever form it takes. So it could be open questions that you ask yourself. It could be working with the pattern and walking through it to what it might look like, which
Yeah.
I can go to an example, but we'll we'll come back to that. Um, but that people go, yeah, but what else is there? That's all that it is. When it comes down to it, shadow work is you conversing with yourself about you. Now, might people go, but then I'm on my own. Well, this is where
Mm.
when you work with somebody alongside you, it can work and it can happen for you. And what you'll
Mm.
find is your subconscious will start opening up little by little. That will give you points to go off from and open up
Mm.
more and more about you as you feel comfortable. If there's overwhelm, if there's emotion, that's fine.
That's fine. Do you know what? This is absolutely amazing. I mean, often the work that you do and around shadow work, or either one of us do, it's when people kind of hit that wall or they hit rock bottom. But actually, the work of shadow work would be awesome for everybody to just do,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Because I think this is where it becomes really powerful. And as a lot of times people often really don't realize when their shadow's showing up and
Yep.
why and how. So by doing this, just a bit like, women or men might go and get their hair done regularly once a week or once a month or whatever it might be, do some shadow work,
Yep.
touching base with yourself.
It's one of the tools that I found in my line of work that really gets to the tough parts. which we all have. We all have a shadow. Every single one of us, even the people that we think that are such stellar examples, everybody has one. And it's an opportunity. I always say it's an opportunity for us to understand more about ourselves. Again, it won't be instant. Even me, like I started my journey in earnest about 6 years ago. I'm still to this day finding new things and also revisiting old things.
Do you know what? You've just said the key word there, Vishad. An opportunity to understand ourselves. Always, it's a journey. It absolutely is. We never stop learning. We never stop encountering new experiences or hitting back onto some things that may be triggering or whatever it is. But there's always going to be something. So by doing that work, from what you're saying, we become more attuned.
Yes. It gives you the possibilities to understand yourself, look into yourself as you go forward. And it's amazing how much your subconscious opens up to that, because your subconscious is always going like, I'm on your side. I'm not here to fight you. But when there's something that I don't get, then that's when so I'll come back to that phrase I said, self-sabotage doesn't exist. What we might want to start thinking about it as, it's self-protection. It's your subconscious going, I don't know what you're doing. Tell me more.
Yeah.
So tell me more looks like you having a look at, okay, go back to the exercise example. Okay, go ask a personal trainer, what's good for me? What should I be doing? Maybe ask your friends and family what worked for you. Have a look on YouTube, beginners exercises or whatever it might be. Start slow. Start with a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything at once. Then your subconscious looks at that info and data and goes, oh, okay, I see what you're trying to do. Yeah, that makes sense. Because then you start working from your own reasoning. Like, I want to work on my own long-term health. I want to work on my, whatever it is, stamina, weight, whatever it is, for me, not for anybody else, for me. And that's when
it becomes more personalized. It has to be personalized. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's when your subconscious goes, oh, okay, I get it. And that's when you start to take those automatic steps to the next bit. If you meet resistance, then there's opportunity to go, okay, what might be happening here? That's it.
And again,
that's all
this is all things like, that people put barriers that people put up because, all this kind of work, as you've said so many times, and we both know, takes time. It was not going to happen overnight. And often people go, oh, I haven't got time. Or there's fear factors about it, or what will other people think? I just don't have time to do. It's that time. But if you want things to change, you have to put the time into it. Like if you're working on a project, you need to put the time into it in order to achieve that result. Otherwise, if you're working for your boss is going to sack you. It's the same thing. Your body will collapse. Your mind will collapse if you don't put the work into it. Anyway, so we're going to move on because I'm conscious of time, but this is all so fascinating. Just for our listeners, I want them to kind of think about, when are the times most likely that you're going to encounter your shadow, even if you don't realize, to figure out what's happening. Is it in your relationship? Is it in conflict, in the moments of stress or comparison? So next time, if you're feeling triggered or overwhelmed or reactive, as Vishad has said on many points here, pause and ask, what is this really about? What's going on here? Right. So, this is actually such an important one for me as well, because I work with young people and I see this often. So especially, and business owners actually, for high achievers. Okay. And for someone who looks successful on the outside, which we see all too often, but feels unsettled internally, how can shadow work help bridge the gap between external success and inner peace, hence the inner peace walker?
First question to ask yourself is, are you happy? Are you peaceful? Are you content with all that's going on in your life? Are you peaceful? Are you content? If the answer moves towards yes, an instinctive answer, okay. I'm not here, and no one is here to say, no, you should abandon all that and think this way. If you're fundamentally okay, then that's okay. To you. To you. Other people might have a different judgment, like, no, you got to change this, no, you got to change that.
Yeah, everyone's got
And
an
that's up to,
opinion.
exactly. And then that's up to you whether you go, yeah, actually, they're right. I got to do X, Y, Z. If you're going, no, I get all that, but I'm all right. Okay. That's not to
Yeah.
say, right, put your fingers in your ears forever and ignore everybody. But okay.
Mm.
Point is, we're not forcing ourselves into anything like it feels we might have been coerced or just gone down, shepherded down this route
Mm.
in our life. So that's the
Mm.
first question. If you're struggling and going, yeah, yeah, or it feels like you're giving a stock answer, like, yeah, I could do something else, but I've got kids to provide for, mortgages. That standard answer. There's a point to go. That could be your subconscious, i.e., your ego, going, yeah, just put an excuse out there. Just put an
Mm.
excuse. Make it sound acceptable. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because everybody will resonate. They're going, yeah, mortgages, man, and interest rates, and kids, and job, and yeah, 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 yeah. Everyone gets that. Everyone that feels safe, right? But it doesn't say what you actually feel.
Mm.
So
No, absolutely not.
the question to ask is, well, how do you actually feel? How do you actually feel? Not in a moment, but in general.
In general.
It's
Yeah, it's
ask
interesting.
what we're asking you to do here for a second is just ask yourself what emotions are you experiencing through your day, or through
Mm.
your life, I should say. Many people might just not go beyond the base emotions. Yeah, generally happy, bit of sadness, whatever, but keep digging. There's
Mm.
more to our emotional vocab than those. People might look up things like an emotions wheel online to get an
Yes,
idea of,
absolutely.
to dig into. So the point of the reason we start there is like, what are you experiencing? What's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you talk about external achievements and stuff like that, that's all that we're running our lives in at the moment. How are my
Yeah.
kids
And then
doing? How am
often
I
you
doing?
achieve that goal and you get
Exactly.
there, and then all of a sudden you still don't feel fulfilled. You kind of like, well, I need to get on to the next one. And actually, I was having a conversation around this with a client of mine just the other day, where you kind of, you don't sit, when something bad happens, we kind of wallow in it and we sit with it for hours and end, and it just goes round like a turntable, like a hamster wheel going round and round and round. But the moment we get some success or we achieve something, we go, oh great, yeah, wonderful, I feel great, and then you move on very quickly
Hmm.
like that. But why don't we take time to sit? And this happens a lot with a lot of people, but especially high achievers, that they just need to then find the next thing for fulfillment, and it's never going to come if you don't actually stop.
Which in itself is a learned behavior.
Mm.
Imposter syndrome. If I don't keep going, I'm going to get found out. I'm going to be shown up to be a fraud. I don't know what I'm doing. So you're pushing that into your shadow. Keep that at bay by looking busy, looking productive.
Yeah.
Going back to another behavior that we talked about with sharing, with people pleasing. Oh, if I
Yeah.
put other people ahead of me, then that looks good. But underneath in your shadow is like, what about what you want? No, I can't say that. Why not?
Mm.
And I'm not going, right, flip everything upside down and start being a narcissist and not caring about anybody else and stuff like that. We're not looking for to jump from end to end. We're looking for our own balance.
Yeah,
To
it's
say
about.
sometimes, like, if you don't say, you get invited to somewhere, like, I don't really want to go, but I'll go because of X, Y, Z. You don't actually want to be there, so actually, not this time, next time. You don't have to make
Yeah.
up an excuse,
Yeah, you
a
don't owe
spaceship
anyone
landed or
any
whatever. I don't know.
excuses
Yeah,
or an
but
explanation.
to go back to your question, the reason external achievements are so strong is like, that's our, as we said before, that's our sort of um, judgment or scorecard to other people. So what shadow work asks you is to just de-link that for a second, not to say that didn't happen, but to go, what's driving it underneath. And the examples we've gone through are starting points to begin that conversation. So why do you overwork at work? Because overworking leads to burnout, leads to
Mm.
stress, leads to anxiety, leads to overthinking, leads
Absolutely.
to people pleasing. They're all interlinked. So all these bits where we're completely knackered, for
Mm.
example, or we're like, oh, the commute feels like a drag. It's these little moments to go, is there an opportunity for a change here? And not just jump into another role, because that's,
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
people
yeah,
can feel, oh, I'll just get another job. Okay, but so I'll bring it back to myself, my own example for a second. So when my background's in investment banking, which I just went into through the safe route. I got a degree in economics, a safe subject. Banks were the in thing at the time, giving out grad schemes and opportunities and whatnot.
mm,
I got one. Didn't have any ambition to be a wolf of Wall Street or anything like that. I'm like, well, it's a job. It pays me. That'll do. Worked as hard as I could in an intense environment, etc., etc. I gave my 20s to it, and I'd started having those thoughts constantly of like, there's got to be more to it than this. I'm not really
mm.
enjoying this. It's those questions that start to crop up going,
Hang on a minute.
and for me, it wasn't like jump to another role, because some people are fearful of change. I was fearful of, well, shit, what if I don't like this job? Then what? You doom sort of, you promote doom in your own head. Like, that's not going to work either. Until, I just, when I left my role, I'm like, the world didn't end. I'm
Yeah,
still
it keeps
standing.
going.
And I remember that the thought I had when I left my building for the last time, it wasn't like, oh, crap, I'm in trouble, I'm in panic, everything's in trouble now. I just went, thank F for that. Thank F for that. And that was
Yeah,
automatic.
yeah,
It wasn't face saving. It wasn't like, oh, I've got to make a story. It's like, oh, I could feel that. I could still feel the relief just drop off my shoulder.
yeah.
No
And it's
more
amazing, but it's that
traders, no
first
more this.
step, isn't it? It's that
Yeah.
first initial step. Because if you don't, because you basically have those two choices, don't you? There's always a choice and there's always two.
Yeah.
At least. Sometimes there's more, but there's always going to be two choices.
So to answer your question, when it comes to external achievements versus shadow work, first of all, ask yourself, are you content? Are you happy? Anything coming up? If you feel, no, it's all right, okay. Now, this is not again, it's not like wait till you trip yourself up moment.
Yeah.
Because if you keep going, then it's only your own responsibility to go, actually, no, at one point. Because it may crop up. To go, no, actually, I'm not, this isn't all right.
Yeah,
That's your
absolutely.
clue, an opportunity to go, okay, what's underneath? And shadow work is about the traits of yourself, the behaviors of yourself that can come from any tiny example, but actually hits the root.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for our listeners, taking all that in about being high achievers or your successes, what success actually feels like to you? So, the word is
Yes.
feels like to you, not just looks like. So, there's a big, big difference in that.
Yeah.
Go deeper with the feelings, not what it just looks all airy fairy and with lots of glittering glow on the top. Go deeper inside into the root. Now, as we're slowly starting to round up, for someone listening right now who's thinking, this is me, I can relate to this. What's one small practical step, Vishad, that they can take to begin their journey? So, something really simple, something realistic, something they could start right here, right now, today.
Take 5 minutes whenever you want. Answer this one question. What do you hate in your life? Anything you want.
That's a big word.
A behavior, a person, a reaction, a pattern, a habit. Not like general, not like I hate murderers or criminals, not like that. No, you. So things like I hate people, or
So
I
that's
hate the behavior.
really irritating day-to-day basis. That's what you're saying. That really gets under your skin. Okay.
Someone didn't hold the door open for me. So I don't mean specific moments like yesterday someone did. I just mean in general. Like, and be as specific as you can. Like it could be a character on a TV show, a personality, and make it individual to you. Not like I hate. We mentioned the president earlier, for example. No, to you, like I hate people that eat loudly. I dislike people winding me up about my passion. Start with that. And again, define it. Okay, that's the headline. What does that look like? When does it come up? The purpose of that exercise is to go, what have you buried deep inside you?
Dig
I
deep.
hate having, I hate having to be the tech person around me. Like, can you fix this? Can you fix that? I hate my phone going off in the morning. I hate, give some more examples, melodramatic people. I hate it when people don't reply to my texts. I hate it when someone's just around me taking selfies all day. I hate the sound of loud coughing. I hate it when I ask someone, are you okay? And they go, yeah, I'm all right.
I hate it when people look at me. I get that quite a lot from young people. Oh, I hate it when they're looking at me. It's an interesting one. Some
I hate
really good
adverts on
examples
YouTube.
there.
Honestly.
So really, but these can be really, really things that can deliberate to be. Oh, I can never say that. Can really stop people from moving forward in their lives.
Debilitating.
Thank you. Gosh, there are some words I can never say. They can really stop people from moving forward in their life and can be such a barrier to their success in personal and in work life, family, any situation. Success is not just about work, by the way. You know, I'm referring success in any aspect of your life. It's crazy.
And just to finish the context example, because I'm aware some viewers and listeners might go, okay, I created my hate list, then what? So the next part is to then, and this might be a bit of a layered exercise, but again, this is just opening possibilities. So that's your starting point of a hate list. If you want to stop there, that's fine. If you want to take the next step, the next question to ask is, well, it's a 3-part question. When you're describing that behavior and what it looks like, what emotions or reactions specifically come up for you? So label the emotion, label the reaction. What do you say and do in response? And then the next question, and that's where I'll leave it for now, is what story are you telling yourself about that reaction to almost justify it to yourself?
3 very, very important questions. So just repeat those for our listeners again, those final 3 things.
What do you hate in your life? 2, dig into it. Be as descriptive as you can. What's your reaction? What's the behavior look like? What do they say and do? What do you say and do? Describe it. And 3, what's the story behind the reaction that you're giving yourself to almost justify you reacting in this manner?
Fantastic. Yeah.
And when you get to the end of that, see where you want to go.
Yeah. And in that sense, sometimes if you often, and take a risk, because this is a moment for you to go out there and invest in professionals like Vishad, who can take you deeper into that and really get you to understand. Because yes, you can work on it, you can begin that journey yourself, but I think that truly to get the real profound results is when you have someone who is external, who doesn't know you, doesn't judge you, and can only see what's there and what you give them.
Yeah, well said.
So,
I operate from the idea. Sorry, no, you carry on.
No, go ahead. You operate.
No, I was just going to say I operate from the idea that your answers are in your shadow.
Yes.
At the moment, we're come from the perspective of the answer is out there somewhere in someone, something.
It's within.
But
you
have your answers, and you have them already. They're just in that sort of
dig
difficult.
It out.
Exactly, where they're in that difficult, dark aspect of ourselves. And I use the word dark not to sort of shock or intimidate people. No. The reason it's there is because we shy away from it. It's like it's just too difficult. But the answers are in there.
Embrace the unknown. Embrace the words that we kind of fear, because actually language, and again, that's another part, but language is so important. The way we speak about language, and how we resonate to it. So again, rephrasing, reframing certain words is really vital and important. And again, you know, just to add to what Vishad said when he was talking about emotions and things that come up. Now, when you come up with those words and labels, but understand why you're using those labels and words, you know, because often they do get thrown out. Oh, I'm stressed, for example. I'm feeling stressed. But what does that stress look like? What does it truly feel like? You know, because I hear young people saying I'm stressed all the time. And they learn to say that for everything, but actually they're not really stressed. It's something else. It's a completely different emotion, but it's all they know. So explore the language as well. Anyway, we're going to wrap up, but I want to bring this back to you, the listeners, because this conversation isn't just about shadow work. Okay, it's about the awareness. It's about understanding that the things you struggle with, the overthinking, the self-doubt, the patterns, all of this, it's not random. As Vishad has been clearly saying, it's all there, right? It's about digging deeper. They are trying to tell you something. Don't ignore it. Listen to it. And then the moment you stop avoiding them, you know, start paying attention and start understanding, that's where the real change begins, right? And you don't need to fix yourself. It's about understanding who you are, yourself, because growth doesn't come from becoming someone new, though sometimes often we want to, but you are always going to be you. You're just going to be have new behaviors, new approaches. Am I right, Vishad?
Really, this is a really good summary. Really,
Yeah.
really, really good.
And from what I understand here is that, you know, you've always been who you are, but beneath all of that are your patterns. So Vishad, can I say, you know, as always, it's an absolute delight. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today about your shadow work. And I just love that terminology. I'm thinking of Peter Pan. I think I might go and watch the movie tonight. You know, it's been powerful. It's been eye-opening conversation. And, you know, with two professionals here that do similar work, there's always something new to learn. And this is why I love what I do.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Zeenat, for giving me the opportunity to come on your show. I hope your viewers and listeners can take something away from this. You know, one last message I'll just reiterate is stay kind to yourself. Again, we're all human beings. We're not robots. We're not going to get this right all the time. We'll still mess up, even with all the work that you do. That's okay. It does not mean to say that, you know, we just blithely make mistakes and do nothing about it forever and have no impact, but we're trying to find our ways through. At the moment, we're in a world where it seems like everybody's having a go at each other for some reason or another, whether it's gender based or it's role based or whatever it might be. But when we all take a moment to listen to each other, just without any judgment, without any advice giving, without any you should do this, you should do that, just listen to each other, communicate. I think communication is on the floor at the moment. We're just not talking to each other. But while we work through our own journey, whatever that might look like, whether you use shadow work or not, or whichever means there are, you have the opportunity yourself. These patterns are not there in concrete or, you know, cemented. You can change them, and at the same time, it's your own responsibility to do that. There's a wealth of knowledge and tools out there to help. You know, Zeenat's there, I'm there. There's loads of other people out there, but fundamentally, it's about staying kind to yourself as you work through your journey and repairing yourself first, so that you can say, "I am good enough" with whatever is going on.
Brilliant. Thank you again, Vishad. So if this episode has resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with the world. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And of course, reshare it with yourself and listen to it again. You know, because it's always great to go back and listen to parts that you may have missed or think, oh, I actually want to listen to that in a bit more deeper. And if you're ready to go deeper into your own journey, you can connect with Vishad through Inner Peace Walker, and I'll pop in all the links in the bio and the comments and the details, so you'll find Vishad there. But very quickly, Vishad, do you want to give your links on here, please, just to our listeners?
Yeah, sure. So
Maybe your main website.
yeah, innerpeacewalker.com. If you go to my contacts page, all the channels that I'm on are around there, including, you know, what I do, channels, products, whatever, you know, whatever takes your fancy, and the means to contact me to chat further.
Brilliant, thank you. And as always, if you need support navigating your own emotional well-being, I'm here too. Do hit the subscribe button to keep posted on all the new upcoming episodes. And remember, clarity creates confidence and courage, one talk at a time, because conversations matter. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep choosing you.